I stood here for a minute trying to think of what I was wanting to do because I forgot that there is no developer blog post for this week, and only remembered when I went and looked and saw that the last one clarifying VRChat developer blog update for this week. And I only noticed that after looking on what do they call this? ask.vrchat.com for the developer updates tag. And I only remember when I looked at that page and saw the last update is for June 25th, 2026, that they said that they'll be continuing on this on July 16th. I don't have any articles in mind right now that I want to just read on a whim, but I'm still processing that I've been doing something with a channel like this, or really any form of content creation, and stuck to it at this point now. Roughly January last year. I believe it was December 2024 that I started doing this content. I don't want to go and look on my channel because I know it would give me an answer, but I just want to see how much I do and don't remember. But I do remember in a community, the way that it started was there were a number of people that were saying initially as a joke that, oh, you should make ASMR content. And I took up the opportunity on that joke and did 2 articles. Looking back at them now, I wouldn't consider them that great because it was the first time that I tried to do something like that. And I had a less than ideal setup for how I wanted to record it. The first 2 videos, I didn't post one of them. One of them was when I was using a different avatar before the Renu. It's in maybe 2 or 3 of my earlier on videos. It was before I had more of a identity, or I guess image built behind my Nova Beast that I've been using now for getting close to a year and a half, 2 years. But I started the content as a joke that way. I mainly just went through Wikipedia articles that I found a level of entertainment from, asked some friends or peers for ideas of articles to read, and for the most part I got what I would consider kind of joke-ish responses, such as lawnmower racing. It's one of my most memorable ones that I remember going through. But content like cock and ball torture is definitely meme level to read through, and still a little bit more graphic than what I would want to do at this point now. I do want to continue going through and reading the VRChat developer updates on here, and it is still a thought because someone who's recognized me because of my content, and just talking to peers as well who want to do or find enjoyment in those doctoral cranial exams where they feel around your head, like use gloves and have the ability, or there's more textile noises or feedback, and oftentimes it's, I don't know what the proper term is for it, where it's directional audio where you can have the separate left and right channels. And it is something that I want to be able to do in a way inside of VRChat, but I have not set aside the time to want to look into it further, because it's something that is new to me, and I need to be able to break the steps down in a way that makes sense to myself. The main hurdle that I have right now is that I use a lavender mic. I just took it off. My voice probably sounds a little bit different. And the lavender mics that I use, the Holyland Lark M2, does not have stereo separation. I wanted to, ideally, when I figure out doing something, if it's like with pen clicking or using gloves, to be able to make that noise of like the NyQuil, not NyQuil. That is not the right word. Not whatever the rubber is, like latex gloves or something similar, when they get pulled and it kind of smacks against your skin and it just makes that textile noise. I want to be able to articulate that in a way that is more sensible to be perceived, as if, like, if I get close to this camera, I do not know who I am in the face. Like, me reaching around and interacting with that as if it's like on the left side of the person's head, or the camera's head in this point, or the right side, or on above, or if for some reason there's like needing to feel around like the neck. I want to be able to articulate that with my character in VR in a way that is plausible, that it's being done to the viewer. But what stops me is my microphone is mono, so I don't have that directional audio. Ideally, I would get something, if it's, say, like a Blue Yeti or lavender mics that do support having separate channels, because then I could do that and record both. That actually gives me an idea. If I do move on from the Holyland Lark, either if it's to one of the DJI mic minis or a second set of Holyland Lark M2s for some reason, that raises a different issue. Realistically, to the same type of mic, or one that has similar quality, because if I'm recording two different audio streams, then I could split it and have it be left and right channel that way. But it's, again, on the surface to me, I get what I want to do, but I have prep that I want to go through and be able to try and put a level of effort into it that I would be happy with. I understand that, like, I could also just record something and make use of the hardware that I have right now, but I don't know. It's not something that I would be happy with myself, and I need to get better at just speaking impromptu this way regardless. Either if it's speaking regularly, speaking with a quieter voice, or whispering, which is what I've typically done for my ASMR content, and I prefer doing it that way too. I lost my train of thought. I know it will be something that I will do with content at some point, as I do want to continue posting on this channel at the very least twice a month or every second week. The type of content will, for the most part, be the developer updates, because I've stuck with it for as long as I have now. It is something that I see as a regular schedule or activity that I find enjoyment with. Something that's come up more recently that also validates me doing this is both stereotypical positive interactions, stereotypical negative interactions. I view them both as positive, and my reason behind that is because going into public instance on VRChat, that's 95% of what I do on here. I'll go into, what is the name of it? I will go into Furry Hideout in just regular publics. Sometimes I'll go in group publics or group age-gated publics, but my reason behind going into regular publics is because there's more interaction that often happens in there, and I find that people aren't quite as in their own bubble, which is totally fine. But I like getting the more raw or out there type of experience, even if it is the type of thing that people consider negative, because I make the best out of it that I can. And I've had both interactions of people pointing out, because my VRChat bio, I mentioned in there that I'm Canadian, show my avatar for eye and face tracking because of having the Quest Pro. I make ASMR spoken content, and then that's all I have in my bio right now. I've had interactions where people either have recognized me because of this content, and then we talk about it a little bit, and they say that they find it interesting. Or I remember one person, they were talking about how it's not that common to find furry content with ASMR, let alone furry content in VRChat that's about ASMR. And it was cool to them that they organically interacted with me at some point. There's also been interactions of people where they notice it's in my bio. They mention like, oh, like that's neat that you do that. I'm going to check it out later. Cool. There's also, though, the stereotype negative interactions, especially if it being in a public instance, where people pick on it in a intended negative tone. Why do you make content like that? You probably have something that you could do that's better with your free time. Or dictating and saying that, oh, spoken content isn't ASMR, it's just narrating. Which, that metric may be true to some extent, but all that it shows me is that I'm doing something that other people might not understand, and because they don't understand it, the only way that they know how to respond is by pressing something that is attempting to get a negative response out of me on, and I can make the best out of it by acknowledging it, offering to talk about it, as long as it's not continued that way. And if it is continued that way, moving on with it and focusing my time on other people that see me how I want to see other people. And not even just with like the ASMR content. I try to apply that same type of thought on anything, and it just makes anything much more enjoyable, in my opinion. Had I told myself that I was doing something like this 5 or 8 years ago, I probably would have had similar interactions where it was the dismissive type of, oh, this is something silly, like why would someone do that? But I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that I've gotten the chance to continue making content like this and have had positive and stereotypical negative interactions with it, because it shows, as I've mentioned before, that what I'm doing is worth my time and that the effort doesn't go unnoticed. I don't really know what else I wanted to talk about with this, but I will continue posting regular content with this. If there is other spoken or read content or content for ASMR related things as well, or suggestions that you have, I have normally left my Discord inside of the description on videos, just so it is there. And there's also comments as well that if you have a suggestion or feedback with that, I am always open to hearing that and do appreciate people who do spend the time to write something on there. I may not reply to everything, but I do read it, and it is the type of thing that I appreciate a lot. But for now, this is the end of this video. When the next developer update is posted for July 16th, I will be reading that on Friday or Saturday, and that video will be live when I've completed with that.